Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa. Good evening, wonse mwewaletamba. Mwapurika uli, mwachoma bwanji, muri uli. I've run out of languages. Good. This evening, I'm joined by Legend, Comrade Mother, Sister D. Good evening, Comrade Mother.
Good evening, Comrade Pilato. How are you doing?
Very fine, very fine. I'm happy to be joined by you this evening, and I'm looking forward to an exciting conversation. So, for those that are
Humbled
watching
to
us
be
for
on the program.
yes, I'm truly humbled that you accepted to join us. For those that are joining us for the first time, this is Taste the Chat with Pilato, and we've been running conversations and series of conversations on Zambian music. And we basically want to understand what is it that we can do to improve the industry, but also to improve the welfare of artists, and to help the industry structure itself, and for society and the government and the artists themselves to get the best out of the industry. So tonight we continue this conversation, and I'm joined by the legend, Sister D, Comrade Mother, Fiance. And obviously, to kickstart the conversation, I would like those that are joining us for the first time to understand what it meant producing music the time that you were starting to do music, because you started doing music when it was difficult. There were not so many studios to record from. There were not so many people to help in promoting. There was no internet. You had to walk from radio station to radio stations. Uh, Kindly share with us what that experience was for you producing music, especially as a female artist producing music during that time. How was it?
It was difficult, like you have mentioned already. I think we only had one studio. Like the time I was getting interested in the music, if I remember correctly, there was only one studio, DB Studios. And then recording then was not like you just go, there's a program and you do stuff. It was
Yeah.
live instruments, it was live voices, so it wasn't easy, because you had to find a band, you had to find people to play your music, and you had to rehearse the full song that you're going to record. A new song, you rehearse it and make sure that it's perfect, because when you go into the studio, it's one take, everything, the drums, the guitars, the voices. So that's how it was. But it was interesting, because really it was uh we had to work extra hard. We had to work
Yeah.
extra hard. I didn't record any of my songs from DB Studios, but I saw when I escorted some artists to record there. The time came when there was movie studios, but before that, I think what we were really doing at that time was live music. Like, you want to play somewhere where in church. Like, for me, I started singing in church. I made sure that if there was time to sing, I would always be in front, and I made an effort to learn how to play one or two chords. So all the time, every Sunday, I was so excited to perform in church, because I had an audience in church, Livala Baptists.
Yeah.
From then on, there was a man. He used to live in our area in Livala, Mr. Sam. I've forgotten the other name. He would play guitar, and he used to be friends with my brother, and sometimes he would come and he would really push me and say, "Oh, you can sing," and stuff like that. And that time, the happening place was Ridgeway Hotel. Where every artist was performing. We saw the rising stars, and those guys grew up in my area in Livala. They were the stars of those times, and you just see them and you're admiring them. And so it really pushed us to say, for me, what I want is just a microphone, because our time there was no money. Like, you're an artist today, then you make a 2,000 kwacha, you make 1,000 kwacha, and like now somebody just comes in the industry and they're getting 15,000 kwacha per show. It was different with us. With us, we didn't even think of the money, because the money wasn't even there, first of all. So the first thing we looked at was like, I just want to hold that microphone. So when there was a time that Mayenge also used to play, and I was privileged to be a backing vocalist. So I I was pushed, like, I mean, you can do it, you can try something, and the excitement was the microphone, because we watched live performances like from the Burning Youth, Michael Zulu, there was a lot of reggae that time. Also, the
Yeah.
Kuzwayos, I've forgotten their band. Is it Uhuru or something? There were a number of bands, but most of them were reggae bands. So it was so amazing just to see those guys perform, and that's what we looked forward to. It wasn't easy, but it was exciting.
Mm. So, coming from that era and where we are today, what are some of the things that exist today that you wished, if this was our time, would have been better?
I think it's of course, the facilities that are there, the internet. We did not have internet, like you had mentioned earlier. We had to go
Mm.
around radio stations, and that's
Mm.
why we made sure that we performed live, because that's the only place they could see you. It wasn't easy to be on TV. There were just a few artists who would be on TV, and you had to go radio station to radio station. And we didn't really have so radio stations. That's the other thing I'll mention, because now we have hundreds of radio
Yes,
stations,
yes,
community
yes.
radio stations. But in our time, I think there was only ZNBC radio. That's what we had.
Mm.
And after some time, we had Radio Phoenix, which was one of the private radio stations that really pushed our music. So those are some of the
Mm.
things that would, if we really had that in our time, I think it was going to be more exciting, and the work was going to be made easy for us, because a number of radio stations, the internet, Facebook. Can you imagine, if you wanted to advertise your show, you had to do
Yeah.
ZNBC TV. Where do you get the money? But now
Mm.
you have the internet, you have WhatsApp, you just send your advert, and everybody knows that you are performing. The whole world would even know that you're
Yeah.
performing somewhere. So those are
Yeah.
some of the facilities that I think would have worked very well for us, if we had them in our time.
Are you able to imagine the future? Like, if you sit down and imagine the future of Zambian music, are you able to do that? And if you are, what do you see? Let's say 10 years from now, imagining the Zambian music industry in 10 years from now, what do you see?
10 years from now, the Zambian music industry. Oh my God, that's a quite a difficult question. But I see a lot of diversion from live performances to playbacks, because I think people now realize that maybe it's cheaper, and it's less work, because you're not going to have a whole band rehearsing at your place, or you need to find a rehearsal place. So I see Zambian music really going more digital, than live, but I don't know whether I'm old school. I believe art is supposed to be expressed right there where you are,
Mm.
but when you already recorded and you just play something that you recorded, the feeling is different. It's
Mm.
not the feeling that you have at that moment. The feeling
Yeah.
is different. Every time is a different time. So as an artist, you need to grow with your performance. You really need to
Mm.
grow with your performance. Today you perform like this, the other day you want to go higher, but you're going to be using a C. It's the same emotion, it's the same feeling, and usually the audiences that are very intelligent with music want to see that emotion, because you have to connect with the people. Not that it's a bad thing. I mean, it's what is happening. We come from the old, but I think we really need to try and do live performances. I know
Mm.
sometimes it's expensive, but we want to see you. We want to hear you. At that moment, we want to share your emotion. We want to share the emotions with you. The artistic emotion, the artistic expression. Is it that you have for us today? That we are going to share. So those are some of the things that I feel have lost. And looking at 10 years from now, I feel we'll really lose them. We'll have very, very few, if any, live music or performers. So uh, it's difficult. I don't know. I don't even know how to put it, but it's a difficult moment for me
Yeah.
because I've always felt art is an expression, and an
What do you think?
expression is supposed to be expressed, between you and your audience. So I hope they're doing fine. 10 years from now, time we had rumba. We had disco. Which is was
Yes.
so difficult for you to penetrate. Like if you got into a public place and you want your Zambian song to be played, you
Yeah.
really had to work extra hard. But now you go into a club, there's Zambian music everywhere, so which is a huge plus for the young artists, because we never had that. We had to the not coffee, which bongo. Those were the people that were coming to Zambia. Franco, the females
That's
were
a bongo man.
Shalamwana, Mbiria Bell. So I
Yeah.
mean, where do you put yourself as Sister D? You are nowhere. You are nowhere. So, really, I think now we've seen people go to watch shows, where Zambian artists are performing, stadium will be filled. That's a huge plus, and I hope that Zambians can continue supporting Zambian music the way they are doing today.
Uh, so looking at your 10 years projection, what do you think should be done for us to build from where we are to a better image of the Zambian music industry and performance from now? What would you recommend that we should do today as stakeholders in this industry? What do you recommend that we do today for us to have a better future, for us to improve our industry, for us to improve our artistry? What is it that you would recommend?
Like you say, what do we do? Your question is saying, to improve our artistry, to improve our industry. There are a lot of things in industry. The worry sometimes is that, especially for the young people that haven't really gotten into the industry, or those that don't really know the nitty gritties, music is not an easy job. You really have to. And what we need to do is, there are a number of stakeholders, including government. I've always said we need professional venues for artists to rehearse. We need music schools. We need performance venues, like proper musical venues. Not where you go, the acoustics are bad. That's why I say it's an industry, because you have to look at the acoustics, you have to look at the lighting, you have to look at the costume, you have to look at the equipment, you have to look at your stairs, what of a stage, for you to bring out that performance, that artist is come out. So I'm looking at things like that, where you have a proper venue, and it's the cost is not like you want to injure the artist. That's why I'm including government in this, because if it's a facility like we had, the Kaundas in the UNIP days had a vision, for social life, entertainment. We had halls in our communities. We had Kabwata Hall, we had Chilenje Hall, Matero Hall. I'm not sure of the other halls, but those were facilities that you'd go, and you do your performances maybe at a minimal fee, just to help with the cleaning and the stuff that are there. Those are things that we need to start looking at. What are you going to artists? I think Zambian musicians have really come a long way on their own. On their own. We've really pushed this, that, a bit of other, interested people like the Chisha Folotias in our time, the Steve Nirenda's movie studios, and a whole lot of other people. Sombe, there was a man called Mr. Sombe. He really helped the industry as well. So for me, I think it's an industry that has been overlooked. It's an industry that can bring a lot of money in the economy. Also, when Pilato is performing, when an artist is performing, people are going to buy fuel, people are going to buy drinks, people are going to, to call their friends. The economy is moving because one artist is performing. So I think we needed to see investment also investment in the artists themselves. I think sometimes we've seen that fame, some people cannot handle fame. You get so excited when your song hits, and nobody can control you. Somebody tries to talk to you about it, or niche, I'm best, I'm happening. Usually it's very important to listen to the people that have been there, because experience is the best teacher. So for me, I think we have a lot of work. We need schools, mentors, we need venues, like I said, we need rehearsal venues, we need proper equipment, lighting for that artistry, for that music to come out. I mean, look at our friends. When they're performing, sometimes they're just standing, but just what is added to that performance makes it different than what we are going to do, like here in Zambia. So I think those are some of the things we can look at. Investment.
One thing I wanted to hear from you also, when you say government is, I think you said government is losing money by failing to invest in the industry. How do you think government is losing money? Because that's my point of interest. I want to understand. I want us to be able to convince government that the music industry is worth investing in. And if you invest in the music industry, these are the benefits. So in your own words, what are the benefits for the government for investing in the industry? When you said government is losing money, how is government losing money? How can we convince governments that once you let the industry be as it is, you're losing money?
I think the investment would also, like I mentioned earlier, will help in the economy, because as soon as artists are doing better, you have a lot of people following the artists. I think to pay tax, I don't even pay tax, but I think if we are making big money, of course the government is going to benefit through our tax, because if I get a lot of monies, of course the government is going to benefit from what I'm making. But right now, if I get 10,000, for example, I have equipment to pay for. I have a venue which they are going to charge me. I won't mention the name, but if I go to that venue, they'll tell me you're going to pay 65,000 for concert at our place. I have musicians to pay. I have costumes to wear. But if there's a way that the artist can be helped. Like I mentioned earlier, to say we need investment in the industry. Then, of course, if we make good money, the government is also going to benefit. And we can support artists. I think we just saw recently ending art piece. I mean, that's an artist. The whole world saw that, and the whole world was talking about it. That's an art piece. And from then on, that piece can be made for other countries. People would be interested. Who did that art piece for the weekend? So all those things can create a lot of money for the country. And of course, our families as well will benefit, because Pilato, if I make money in the music industry, I'm able to take my children to school. I'm able to take my children to university. I'm able to feed my family. So as soon as I buy salt from ShopRite, there's VAT there. They are going to charge. There's a tax there. I take my children to school. Somebody's benefiting. A lecturer is feeding their children because an artist made money to take their children to school. So all those are things that we can look at. That's how the economy moves, because we interconnect. So really, I think there's a lot that the arts industry can bring to the economy, and the government can benefit from that.
You mentioned something to do with the live band and the cost of doing business with a live band. Considering that that's the ideal way of expressing artistic creativity in terms of music, what do you think worked for you during when there was no money, that you think artists today can emulate? Because I'll tell you, and I agree with what you said, there are not so many promoters or event organizers that are willing to pay 50,000 kwacha for a performance, for one performance. So how do I pay my team? How do I spend on my preparation for this performance, for one performance, and all of those things. So how do you, from the time that there was no money and now that there's money but there isn't enough money, what do you advise a young artist today who wants to get into live performance? How do they keep this team together? How do they make sure that the needs of these people are properly cared for?
Mhm. First of all, I think it's very important to realize that you cannot make a team if you don't have a vision together. I think that's one thing that really worked for us, because we created a team that, had the same vision. Even if we did not make much money, but everybody was interested to see the vision grow and, to find ourselves where we wanted to. So that is key, because I've realized that most of the time, some artists, even guitarists now, when they just come, they just so many passes and stuff like that. You realize that even on stage, when they are performing, there isn't that, artistry emotion in them when they are playing, because they are just playing for money. I want to be paid, but it's not coming from the heart. Also, the other thing, like now, if they're making, an artist is making good monies, I think it's important to invest. Where we are coming from, we did not have anything, we did not have equipment, we did not have studios, but when we started, having, Sister D performance, this performance, we looked at what we needed. I remember we're going to Solwezi for a performance, and we got our music equipment on the bus. And when we're, halfway, the bus broke down and the show. So all that taught us lessons to say, how do we handle this? And believe it or not, Pilato, there was a show that we had, and we just told ourselves, we are not buying anything else, even if we don't have a car, we are going a light truck. And some people even say, my God, could my musician so, instead of buying like a Benz, the happening cars, they buy a light truck. But that is the vision that we had. We said, we need to carry this equipment, but are we going to manage on a public bus? Not that we're making a lot of money, but because we had a vision and we wanted to do. We bought that light truck, and it was easy for us to move, wherever we wanted to go, whether it's out of town. We invest that truck. We had invested in equipment, but we did not have transport. So these are some of the things that the young artists can do. I know it's not easy. Like, equipment also is very expensive. For you to manage to buy a live music equipment, you really have to work extra hard. But it is possible. You can do that. Investment is key. I think we've seen a number of artists who really had big names, but you just realize that they did not invest their monies, because as an artist, you always feel like the money will keep coming, because every weekend you are called, oh, we need you, Sister D, we need you to perform here, or tomorrow can you come, you perform this side, can you join us for this meeting, can you do that? And you feel like those calls will be coming like that. There's a time that they reduce, and you have to, go back to your investment. Think, oh my God, we have equipment. Okay, we can hire out the PA. Okay, we can do this. Oh, I'll do my own show. I'll just do my own show at my own venue, and people are going to come. So those are some of that we really need to do as the young artists. Invest. Whatever you are doing, invest in your music, invest in yourself. I think that is very important.
So I want also to hear from you, and because you're not just a commercial artist, you're also an activist who is involved in critical conversations on social issues, and especially on girl child and all of that. As we are talking, there could be one artist listening who is a young and upcoming artist who is passionate about things like that, who would want to use their music for activism and all of that. Where is that music? What is the place of music and activism? Music of activism. I don't know the best way of phrasing it. In the industry, where I want to make money but the music that I want to produce does not make money for me. What is there a place in the music industry for music for a cause, music that speaks to the issues of life?
Yes, I think there's a place for that. I've always felt there's a place for that because somebody needs to deal with those issues. I know it's not sometimes music that will play in a club. It's not music that will play, at a party or maybe a wedding. It's music that speaks differently. So to that young person or young girl, I've always promoted women and girls. To that young person who thinks like, I want to take through my music, but how will I make the money? I think the money will at some point follow you. I remember when I did the song Vitendeni,
Indeed.
it wasn't a song
Yes.
that talked about love, a song that talked about this boyfriend, it was a song that was talking about, again, look at the artist. Even in the music that you're going to do as an activist, do not forget the artistry. Music is show business. Don't forget the show, don't forget the business. In as much as you're going to do, music that is, activism, don't forget the business, don't forget the artistry, don't forget I've forgotten the other word, but I mentioned it earlier. So it's very important that in whatever you are doing, you add artistry, that emotion to your song, because I've always thought that music that really comes from the heart and has that emotion, that same emotion will touch the person that is listening. I've noticed that. But there's music that even I myself have done, that you feel this one, although in but and you realize even with the people to be the same. So it's very important that even as you are doing music in activism, I think it's important that you put in your best. It's not that because Nimba, you're talking about women or copper, or corruption, it should just be, Mlanduche ni nyimbo ya corruption. I think it should be a good song. So I think there's a market for everyone. There are people who want to listen to such music. That's why we have a person like you, Pilato. People listen to your music. It's not, love songs. It's not, it's not playing in the club. But, where is that name coming from? It's from the activism. So I think it's possible that it can work.
Okay, so I want to play. I've never done this. I've talked to artists, a number of artists on this platform, but I've never done this. But I want to do it because I want to play my favorite song of yours, and then we get back to more conversations after that. And then I also read a few comments and questions from our viewers. But at this point, I want to play one of your songs, which is my favorite song.
Okay.
I know most people like Vitende ni. Me, I
Okay.
like this particular. And then after the song, then we can get back to it.
Okay.
Shini balube,
Thank you very, very much. That was I keep forgetting the song. I know Toya Kuribama is very prominent. I keep forgetting the title of the song, but that's my favorite song. I must say again, that's my favorite song. But now, Sister D, I want you to
Okay.
imagine that. I want you to imagine that you're speaking to uh, the Minister of Arts, the Minister or the Permanent Secretary or the Minister of Arts, and you were asked what that they can do for the music industry this year. I know I'm asking you to imagine, but I know they could be listening. I'm one of the most privileged Zambians who get to be listened to by people in power. Obviously, they want to catch me committing crime, but we can make use of that opportunity to say to them, we can make use of that opportunity to say to them what we want them to hear. What would you say to them that they need to do for the music industry, first of all, to be strengthened, also to get the best out of the arts? I'm going to ask that again. What is it that you would say to them to do this year that would help the government to get the best results from the benefits, and get best benefits, most benefits from the industry, and also for the artists? What is it that you would say to the minister or to the permanent secretary or whoever is sitting in the high office and is responsible for the music industry? What is it that you would say to them to do this year that would improve the outcomes, the benefits of the industry, both for the artist and the government?
I think what they can do this year, really, of course, it's to start because I think the industry is huge. It's
Yes,
not the glamour that we see that we wear the suits, they wear the best outfits. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes. I
yes,
think it's
yes.
time that artists were helped. Like I said earlier, musicians have done this on their own. We saw the previous government give artists 30 million, of course, because they maybe because of your tests,
Mm,
and we saw a lot of things coming out. It was like on impulse because there was no plan.
yes,
The people that were given the money, some of them were not even expect. They didn't even know what to do with it. So I think
yes.
for me, what this government, the new Dawn government, can do is look. I think it's sometimes it's very important that you hear from the artists themselves.
Mm, mm,
Make a time. I think there was a time we were talking of having an indaba as musicians because sometimes it's difficult when you talk of artists because the music industry can be looking for something else, the artisans can be looking at something else, the theater artist is looking at something else. So is it possible that we can look at the artistic industry, individually? And like now I'm going to talk about the music. Can we have time to sit down and we understand what the artists are looking for? I remember the previous executive had a strategic plan, where
mm,
everything was put in there how they wanted the industry to run. Because
mm,
today the minister of arts, I'm not sure if he's an artist because I don't know if he's an artist or a sports person because I don't really know him, but my point is, it's best to listen to the people that are doing that work. Even
yes.
today myself, I cannot go and talk about engineers because I don't even know anything. First
Mm,
listen to the artists. What is it that they want? I'll just tell them, go and build a venue for us. It will be a venue that will have no acoustics. It will be a venue that will not have a stage because they don't understand. So I think
mm,
Pilato, for me, the first thing that they need to do is to listen to us. Make time for us. What is it that you want us to do for you? I'll
mm,
say
mm,
Tipangile in my school and stuff like that. They won't even know what is supposed to be in that school. So I think
yeah.
the first thing they had to do something, listen to the artists, talk to us. what is it that we can do together, so those are that's the best way, we can start this journey. I think it's not an easy journey. Just say, oh, just build something for us, do this for us. Listen to us first. What is it? How do we to help the government, and how does the government want to help us?
Uh, I don't know. Do you know any artist that went to the bank and got a loan because they are the most happening artists, or they contribute they make their NAPSA contributions as artists when when they perform or sell their CDs, the NAPSA contributions are made, and when they retire or they decide to retire, they'll get their pension contributions, or they got their pension. I mean, they have got loans from a bank to help them move their art, so improve their artwork and all of that. Basically, simply because they're artists. Do you know anyone who's gotten that, or even National Building Society, an artist that got a loan, or I don't know what they call those things, where they get more like a mortgage, they get the house, and then as they perform and make money, they start paying back. Do you know any Zambian artist that has done things like that?
No, I don't. I don't know any Zambian artists that has gotten a loan from the bank. I've, unless I have been told, but I don't know any artist that has done that. And I think the other worry is we are, an informal sector. Sometimes people will say, we are not trusted and stuff like that. So that question, I don't know anyone.
What can we do to address that problem? Because I know, as an artist today, if I was to grow old and retire, my children will not have an opportunity to say, we are going to get dad's benefit and share or invest or anything like that. I may be making more money than somebody who has a formal job somewhere, but that person who is doing that job may have this opportunity to make these NAPSA contributions every month. They have this opportunity to get a mortgage, and then they start the house, and then they have a house where they can live with their family with decence and all of that. Whilst I could be making so much money, but I'm not allowed, or I'm not qualified to make those critical contributions and have those critical opportunities for me to dignify my own existence as a citizen of this country, but also as an economic player. What do you think should be done for us to get to a place where artists and musicians could be considered as formal economic players, and also where I can go to the bank and say, hey, my name is Pilato, I do music for a living, and I have a project I'm working on. Give me a loan for 1 million kwacha, and this is how I'll pay, and this is how I make my money. Oh, hello, can you give me a loan? I want mortgage. I want to get this house. I like this house. I'll be paying as I get my pay. So, what do you think should be done for us to get to that level?
I think, like you said, the industry needs to be formalized. I think we need certain channels that can be, used by artists, because we have the National Arts Council, we have these associations. What are they doing? Because those are some of the things they can be looking at. And that's what I meant when I said we need to sit with the government. We need to sit and we tell us what we feel like we should be having as artists. I know at some point I was in a meeting with NAPSA. I don't know how far it has gone because I left before things were finalized. But I think they were looking at how artists can start, submitting to NAPSA, just like other people are doing. But, our industry is so disintegrated, you decide this today, the other one thinks like this. So I think it's important that bodies like the National Arts Council, the Zambia Association of Musicians start to be seen to be doing such things. We had things like the insurance with Arts Council. It's been here, there, the funeral policy. We're told artists will start submitting. I'm one of the people who was trying to make a payment. Up to now, I haven't managed to pay because it has just failed to kick off. So I think it's important that these bodies, because the other thing is that not everyone is going to go to NAPSA. Today, Sister D is at NAPSA. Tomorrow, this artist is at NAPSA. I think it doesn't work like that. We need to be organized. But how are we going to be organized? As artists, so that we speak with one voice. Can we be formalized? This is how we want to work. This is how we are going to be contributing and stuff like that. So I think these bodies that represent us need to be seen to be doing things that are going to work for the musicians. You've noticed that when a musician dies, all the time we have to contribute, Not that it's a bad thing to contribute. I'm willing to contribute. But I think there are ways that we can do these things so that the burden is, if an artist died today, we just know that, he had insurance. You just go to the insurance company and they do everything, for the funeral. So it's very important that we start looking at these things, in a different way. Like, what is NAC doing? It's the body that represents artists. Like I said earlier, not everyone is going to speak to this company and that company.
I had a chat with the director for National Arts Council last week, and he was very clear. He said the National Arts Council was established to speak or to represent artists in general. So these are musicians, these are painters, these are sculptors, so all the artists, artists in Zambia are represented by National Arts Council. But the National Arts Council is not designed or fashioned to operate or to provide assistance in terms of business to musicians or any other artists in the country. So that's what I got from so that the National Arts Council, as we may revere it, it's not structured, it's not designed to respond to business demands or business needs of artists. I don't know what you know about Zambia Association of Musicians, and how they could be helpful on this conversation.
How ZAM can be helped on this conversation?
ZAM can be helpful in formalizing music sector, music as an industry in Zambia. I don't know, because I know you were part of leadership, ZAM leadership at some point. I don't know how you think that ZAM is the structure, the program at ZAM would help the industry formalize itself and allow artists to be recognized by this.
Well, for me, I think everything needs to be relooked. First of all, like you said, the National Arts Council and staff has no business, they are not on the business side of artists. For me, I still think the act can be relooked at. We are in different times. If I'm not mistaken, when was that act done? Sorry, I've forgotten the year. But
I think you mentioned 1990,
some years back. Why?
Yeah.
Hello,
I can hear you. I'm saying Mr. Chipindi said the National Arts Council was established somewhere around 1992, 93. around the democracy pronouncements, or yeah.
How many years that? How has
That's
the industry or the world evolved? And we're still looking at something which was created in the 1990s. I think it needs to be changed. A number of things need to be added to the act or removed from the act. Also, the Zambia Association of Musicians is, an affiliate to the National Arts Council. And there's a very little that the Zambia Association of Musicians can do, because those are some of the things that we really need to start looking at. Is ZAM really relevant? Do we have to, find something new? Can we have creative minds think? The people that were there and those that formed ZAM had a vision. They really helped us to do that. But in these times that we are in, do we still continue with the same ZAM, the same arrangements that we have in the Zambia Association of Musicians? I don't think it's right. We need to look at certain things, change certain things, how we are going to operate, starting from the head to all the associations. How do we operate in this modern world? So it's very important that the constitutions, the board, how you choose the board on the National Arts Council board, all those things can be relooked at, so that at least we have fresh, different ideas that are going to take the creative industry, to where we want to see it. So for me, I think 1990s, still looking at the same act. I think even Brother K, Mumbaka Pumpa, has always said, I think when we're doing certain things, we're not there, but it needs to be changed. So I think for me, those are the two we can look at if we want to see the industry prosper, if we want to see the industry being formalized. Those are some of the things that we need to look at. Are they benefiting the artists? Sometimes you feel, do we need this? Because artists survived on their own. They've got their own jobs, but obviously we cannot all go to this organization and say, this is what we want. We need a body that will represent us, but it needs to move with the times.
Yeah. Okay, let me take us through some of the comments and questions that I've received, and then see which ones we can respond to. This one is coming from Josephat Hamakala, who says, I think the government must also look into the entertainment industry by investing in it, especially where movies and music are concerned. This one is Lavens Chimba. Lavens Chimba says, yes, I agree with Sister D. Money for necessary things, e.g. coffin, should be their contribution, can be made just to cushion. I think he agrees with you. This one is coming from Junior Twakabomba, says, I'm right there with you. We need more creativeness from us artists so that we can be supported from Boma. I don't know if you'd want to respond to these comments, and then we proceed to new ones.
I think if we get support from Boma, I think okay, it's not Boma, it's the government, because Boma is British something. I think we've done enough for ourselves, really. I think if we ask for a venue, a good artist venue, I think we've seen, like, we had a tour of Southern Africa at some point, and we went to Swaziland, and we got into this building, and they said, oh, this is an artist place. If you want theater, you can go into there. If you want jazz, go to that floor. If you want to see this, go to... Those are some of the things that we need. I mean, it's not too much to ask for. People are building 48 houses. Why can't artists have at least a place where they can show their creativity? The other one, I'm not sure what he meant when he said contribution for coffin and stuff like that. I think the burden, like I said, can be made easy. because you are insured as an artist. I mean, it's better, why not have an insurance company that is going to take care of issues of artists, especially when they die. Sometimes we have the money, but you find that when we die, we don't even have a house where we're going to mourn. So it's important that those things are looked at. I can't remember the other question.
Okay, so this one is coming from Alfonso Chongo. It says, "We appreciate the knowledge, Madam, and welcome Baba Pilato. This is so inspiring. But from my personal view, our music lost the essence of art when beats meant much more than lyrics." That's one Alfonso there. I don't know if you'd want to respond to that.
Well, it's sad that sometimes when I listen to certain songs, the Zambian songs, you realize that, oh, I've heard this beat somewhere else. I think we are becoming a lazy generation where even artistic wise we want to be so quick to just use somebody's music, use somebody's lyrics. It's important that you are a creator. Can you imagine who's the greatest creator? God is the greatest creator. And if you are given that opportunity to create, do that. I mean, let's not be lazy. Most of the time people just want to make something that they've heard before, something that somebody has done already. I think that's a problem that we are having, but it's important that we create. Like for me, I'll give an example. Sometimes the music just comes in my sleep, and thank God to technology. Those days it was difficult because by the time you're waking up, you won't remember the song that you were dreaming of. But now we are able to record quickly on our phones, so that you don't forget melody and stuff like that, because it just comes in the night. You have to record it because it will go in the morning, or the time you wake up, you want to remember it, you won't remember it. So I think let's be creative, even with the beats. You need to create, create those beats, create those bass lines. It's not just, always sampling and stuff like that. Not that it's a bad thing, but I think creation is the best, because you have this thing that you feel like, oh my God, this just came straight from my mind. And here it is, somebody's listening to it.
This one is coming from Chandabwadia. Chandabwadia is saying, Zambian music industry can improve if you, the happening artists, can find ways of helping the upcoming artists, unlike competing with them. Future prices are just too high for the Zambian upcomers. I don't know if you'd want to respond to that. Muvuta
don't always need a feature.
What did you say to a young
all the time? I think even all of us when we're starting, we didn't have. Sorry, the line is breaking.
I'm saying, what would you say to an artist who is thinking like that? An artist comes to you and they say that to you? What would you say to them?
To an artist who wants a feature?
Who comes and expresses such sentiments to you and say, help us, feature us, don't compete with us.
No, meaning you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in yourself, because what you have, and you is you. There's nobody else, So first of all, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have the talent, and if you are going to have that talent and you are going to showcase it, somebody's going to listen to you. I've always said you don't need a feature, for you to get into the industry. You can do it as you, you can do it as yourself. How did the other artists make it? Even all of us, but we made sure that, we pushed, we were riding to Mike's car wash every weekend on our bicycles, just to go there and make sure that you watch Chris Charlie of their Mayenge, their performances and stuff like that, and have an opportunity to hold a microphone, So really, I think, do not think in those lines. You are the best thing that ever happened to this world, because you are, and there's no one else. If you have the talent, you can make it, even without a feature of an established artist.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mother. I'm happy you agreed to speak to us. I would like to give you an opportunity to make the concluding remarks that you feel needed to be heard. You can go ahead and share your concluding remarks.
My concluding remarks. Thank you so much for having me, Comrade. I'm happy to have featured on your program and, to air my views. And also, I would like to talk to the young people. You have a whole life ahead of you. I think the rain doesn't come without a storm. I think we've seen a lot of suicides, by young people, famous people. I think like I said, you are the best thing that ever happened. And there's more that you can bring out on this earth. So please take care of yourself. We all get depressed. I get depressed. There are certain things that I feel like I cannot handle, but I realize that I'm more stronger than those things that are affecting me. So please, to the young people and everybody out there that feel depressed and they don't, life anymore, I think there's more life ahead of you, and there's more that you can do, to even change the next life, the next life that is right next to you. So I think that has really broken my heart. Also, I don't know if I have time, but the issue of bigamy, people are getting excited to say, the men will be marrying 5 women. And I made a comment to say, I hope it's a balanced thing. We are not going to bring a gender, because if this is going to be passed, let it be the same with the woman. If a woman wants to be with 3 men, let it be so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So I'm going to close the show. I'm going to close the show with everybody's
Thank you so
song.
much. Yeah.
I'm going to close the show with Vitendeni, and then we say bye to the people. So bye, everybody.
Okay.
And this is Vitendeni. Sure.
Vitendeni, Vituveni. Vituveni vikavenga ivo, vichekeni vikavenga ivo, baono gavana nibizelu bamwanivo, kokwila mwana mungono, mwana wazakacha bezivili, mwana mungono vitendeni vikavenga ivo, vituveni vikavenga ivo, vichekeni vikavenga ivo, baono gavana mwana mungono, mwana wazakacha bezivili, mwana mungono vitendeni, vituveni, vichekeni, vitendeni. Vituveni vikavenga ivo, vichekeni vikavenga ivo, baono gavana nibizimba bamwandivo, kokwila mwana mungono, mwana wazakacha bekumi, mwana mungono vitendeni vikavenga ivo, vituveni vikavenga ivo, vichekeni vikavenga ivo, baono gavana bizimba babwandivo, kokwila mwana mungono, mwana wazakacha bekumi, mwaono gavana vijuveni. Vitendeni vikavenga ipo, vijuveni vikavenga ipo. Vichekeni vikavenga ipo, baononga banae. Akati mbwembwembwe mumiseo, akati mbwembwembwe mumabawa. Iwani mwana mumono, na baba da vitendeni. Vitendeni vikavenga ipo, vijuveni vikavenga ipo. Vichekeni vikavenga ipo, baononga banae. Akati mbwembwembwe mumiseo, akati mbwembwembwe mumabawa. Iwani mwana mumono, na baba da vitendeni. Vitendeni mwe, vijuveni mama. Vichekeni mwe, vijuveni mwe, vichekeni. Yamene hiyo yashnaomba. Kaliko vitenda sikona pano. 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 Kaliko vitenda sikona pano.